What is up, everybody? Welcome to the God's Heart, Your Part podcast. I am so excited that you are tuning in. Thank you so much. Couple quick things before we get into it. First off, if there are any specific things you want to hear talked about on the podcast, would you let us know? Reach out to us on Instagram at God's Heart, Your Part podcast. If you'd also like access to exclusive content, we got that for you on our Patreon, so check that out. It'll be well worth your time. Without further ado, let's dive in and let's learn from today's episode together. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody. I'm so excited to have on an incredible friend and leader and somebody who I've known for a couple years now, who pushes me to be better, a better leader, better friend, a better everything. And so it's my honor to welcome Joshua onto the podcast. Josh, give everybody a little wave.
Hey guys, this is Mike.
Hey guys, that's your podcast.
What an honor it is to be on the podcast. What a reunion. A reuniting of our union.
That's right. Josh, tell the people what we used to do.
So me and Brandon are ex podcast hosts together, co-host of Who Needs a Name / Bible Bros podcast.
Yes, which we put on a little sabbatical.
You know? And there's always an end to a sabbatical.
Oh, there's
always an end.
Are you teasing something, Josh?
No, but yeah, me and Brandon used to host a podcast together. Like he said, it's in a little sabbatical season right now. You never know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But my name's Josh. Brandon, like Brandon said.
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and introduce myself.
Yeah, tell the people about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Josh. I am one of many things. I help lead our college ministry at Sanctuary, I co-lead our college ministry at Sanctuary Church. I am a fiance.
That's crazy.
That's wild, bro.
That's so crazy. Wow.
I work in IT, and I'm a man after God's heart. I try to do my best every day to just follow what he has for me.
Yeah.
And to just know him more.
Yeah. Come on, dude. That's fantastic. I told you I want to talk about friendship today and hone in on that. And I thought, honestly, there's nobody better to invite on the podcast than Josh for an episode on friendship. Because you are an incredible friend who's really been in it through thick and thin, through highs and lows. And we've just had this very unique friendship over, I guess, years now, huh? Has it been years? 2 years?
2 years.
Yeah.
2 years, man.
That is wild. And you were my best man, and now I'm going to be your best man, which is crazy and absolutely
Banana
wild.
bonkers, as I like to call it.
Josh, I didn't prep you for this. What did you say?
Banana bonkers.
You're so weird. Okay, so I didn't prep you for this, but give the people, a short history of our friendship. How do we become friends? Our story. You know what? Share a little bit of your testimony too. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say I give you one word. I think you know what that word is.
Oh, wait, I actually don't.
Africa. That's our friendship, to sum it up in one word.
Oh my gosh.
So me, Brandon, very first time I met Brandon at our college ministry.
Yeah.
Inspire Collective back in the day.
Yeah.
And I knew of him. We weren't really friends. And then during he was preaching, he called me out.
Yeah.
And he was like, "You over there in the green shirt." And I was acting all tough, and I was just like, what, man? And so he called me out there and was like, "You just there's something special on your life." And then from there we were friendlier. Yeah. I don't want to say we were boys, but we were friends. I'd say hi to you.
Yeah.
And then I went away for the summer. I went to Dallas. Didn't have anyone down there. Whole bunch of stuff went downhill. Wasn't good for my relationship with God. All this stuff hit rock bottom. Came back and really just gave my life to God. And Brandon was a huge help in that. Just in that we bonded.
Yeah.
And we became super close friends, brothers. We hit the gym to some extent later in that year. That started your gym.
To some extent,
journey.
Bro. Every day.
Every day. You had me going. I started you going every day. And then you were telling me we need to go every day.
Yeah, dude. We well, you looked at me the one day and you were like, bro, we need to get you to the gym. as any good
I did not.
as any good friend would. Basically you did. And you said
you said I wanted to get in better shape, and I said let's do it.
Yeah. And you said, give me 6 months. And I said, great. And then you and I went, and we've talked about this before, but we would go to the gym every day. And then we would go, and we did like a 6-month Bible study on Romans. And
Romans, baby.
That was so formative in so many ways and so powerful and really cool. So we had a couple different dynamics there. And then ever since, we've just been bros. And here we are.
Yeah, man. It's been... Yeah, that was just like... We had a very, I don't want to say short, it was probably like a 6-month span, like legitimately, that we spent 5 days a week together.
Yeah.
Like hanging out.
Yeah, doing ministry.
Which is ministry, just hanging out. Yeah, dude, it was.
Podcast, gym, all the things.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Dude, that is wild to think back to. And back in the day, if you don't want this in here, I'll cut it out. Okay, I'll clip it.
Dude, you know me, but, I'm an open book. You can talk about anything.
I am so proud of you and just the progress and the growth that you've had with your walk with the Lord, because back whenever I first recruited you for our college ministry, can you just tell the people a little bit about yourself and what you would do?
So, no shame, no guilt. I was like addicted to marijuana. I was addicted to marijuana. I was vaping. I got drunk, but it was never really like a problem.
Yeah.
Like I quickly got rid of that. And Brandon, during me still indulging in those things, I didn't know. He said to me, he didn't know, but he said, you know what, you'd be a good small group leader. You want to lead a small group? And I said, sure. And then I'd lead a small group, and then after I'd go indulge in those things.
Right after. You jet from small group. It's so wild. Yeah, but now the Lord has totally brought you out of all of that, and now you are leading an entire college ministry with Elvin, with an amazing team down there. But your growth with Jesus in ministry is so amazing. So I love that.
It's wild to really think about. Dude, my ministry, I know we're talking about friendship, but my ministry journey has been crazy.
Yeah.
I started off with like leading a small group, and then I dabbled in a little bit of like men's community and just some more like preaching lab stuff. I do like a 5 for 5, like, which is just preaching for 5 minutes. 5 people preach for 5 minutes. It's a great night.
Yeah.
And then I dabbled into like youth ministry, where I had a little bit of a higher role and of like leading.
Yeah.
And I preached a couple full messages there. And then I had a season where I backed out of youth and really took on this role of, it was more college men. And then it was just crazy. So I went from college men to youth, back to college men. And then I took a season away from college ministry to then help lead our junior high ministry.
Yeah.
For like 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
And that was the first time they were like, hey, you are leading this ministry. Before I was just serving and being a part of it. And then I was just like, hey, this is not mine, but you're like calling the shots here. Like we put our trust in you, and you're responsible for everything here.
Yeah.
And then I came into this role of co-leading a college ministry. So it's been wild, like year and a half.
Yeah, dude, that is crazy. And man, God's been faithful, which is really amazing.
Amen. He has been.
So I want to talk a little bit around this idea of, obviously we introed it, but friendship. And let's talk about it. I want to just kick off the question to you, generally, broadly speaking. Why are Christian, godly, good friendships and relationships important? And why does it matter who you surround yourself with?
That is such a, I want to say loaded question, but
it's a softball. Hit a home run, my guy.
I don't know the quote verbatim, but it's like it's about the 5 people you surround yourself with will be what you're like.
Yeah.
And who you're surrounding yourself with will be the person you become, in a sense. You'll just gravitate toward the things that they do. And it's almost like the habitat, the culture that you put yourself in. So if you're going to be around people who are playing tennis all the time, you're going to end up playing tennis and you're going to end up watching tennis and liking tennis.
Yeah.
If you hang around a lot of people who go fishing, you're going to end up going fishing, right?
Yeah.
If you hang out with a lot of people who are doing worldly stuff, they're going out and they're drinking and they're going out and partying, like you're going to be doing those things.
Yeah.
And it's really important to surround yourself with the people that you want to be like, or in a sense, people who have the same goal and beliefs as you.
Yeah.
Like that's very, very crucial. And that's something I learned really quickly.
Yeah. No, dude, that's great. What are some, how do you develop, I don't know why I said it that way, but how do you develop healthy friendships?
Well, I think the first step in developing healthy friendships is understanding the importance and the care of having healthy boundaries. Because for a while, and I don't want to say for a while, I was super close friends with some people who I went to high school with, and I love them. I'm always there for them. I support them. We still play video games and hang out sometimes.
Yeah.
But like those are my boys. And like we would go out and we would drink, and this is not to like shame them or say anything about them. I love them and they're great people, but that was just what we did.
Yeah. And
understanding that I wanted to live a different life, I had to put a boundary around the things that I was going to do. And so that took me saying, hey, like I'm not going out with you guys. Like if we're going to a Pirates game, we'll go to a Pirates game. But if you guys are going to the club afterwards, that's where my line's at.
Yeah.
Like I'm not crossing the line.
Yeah.
And because you shouldn't just be friends with people who are your same beliefs, right? That's not what this is about.
Yeah.
If you were friends with only people you were like-minded about, like you're not going to learn anything. How are you supposed to help people?
Yeah.
How are people supposed to grow? Like none of that stuff will happen.
Yeah.
But in terms of how to develop good friendship, you first need to identify people who are like-minded and share similar beliefs.
Yeah.
Have good boundaries in the sense of what you can do and what you can't do.
Yeah.
Like what you want for yourself and what you don't want for yourself. Find people who are like-minded in that. Like you don't drink, you don't do any drugs, you don't, not that I know of. There will be a lot of jokes in this episode. That is true. I will just say that right now.
I'll tell you what I'm addicted to right now is my allergy medicine, bro. I can't get out of the house without it. Okay, so
dude, the allergies are crazy,
wild. Go on.
But yeah, in terms of developing, it's finding like-minded people with like-minded boundaries, and then ultimately just being yourself around them.
Yeah,
and being honest and being like upfront.
Yeah,
like. We became super close friends, I believe, so quickly because of the honesty and the openness between us.
Yeah. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot I hid from you, if anything.
Yeah.
Anything. There wasn't much I hid from you. And what that allowed was you saw who I really was.
Yeah.
And in that we became friends,
Yeah. 100%. And that's not to say, just to clarify something you said and elaborate, like that's not to say you don't have those other friendships either. Like those are also really great and really powerful. But I think for people who are really trying to grow in their faith in particular, or like the podcast, it's geared towards and most of the viewers are young leaders who are up and coming and looking to grow in their faith. I think it's a both and, where it's like you can't just have one group of friends, right? You absolutely, if you want to be all God's called you to be, you need to have those good, godly Christian friends. But then God also positions you in other contexts and in other groups to take what you have to impart into that group and just commune with those people too. So I don't, in the way I phrased the question definitely led towards that, but I don't want it to seem like, oh, you only have Christian friends. But I do think it's important to just prioritize having not just one or the other, but to really have both, And
I could even go as far to say if you go down the route of only being friends with Christian people because you think, oh, they're better,
Yeah.
then you're starting to become a judge.
Yes.
And you don't want to be like, this person's not good,
Yeah.
and this person's better, so I'm going to be friends with this person. It's like, I am no better than anyone else in this world.
Yeah.
And so it's not a matter of the fact of, I only want to be friends with people who are good people and who I'm better than.
Yeah.
Although you should surround yourself with people who you aspire to be, right? But also that doesn't, like, we're no better than each other. We're no better than people who go out and they drink and they smoke, and no better than people who are pastors, right? We're all equal when it comes to that sense.
Yeah.
So it's not really about, is this a good person? Are they like good in the eyes of society? It's more so around the fact of, okay, what are these person's habits? Because what they're doing is kind of about who they are.
Yeah.
And do I want to become that type of person?
Yeah.
And if that's not who you want to become, that's okay. That's when that boundary comes in.
Right.
Like, I only know, like, I can hang out with some certain friends. Like, if they want to go golfing, like, I'll golf. But then, like, I know my limit. You have to know your limit. And that takes time. My first transition, dude, I, like, not severely cut off from my friends, but it took a little bit. They, like, made fun of me. Because we would be in the group chat, right? And they would say, we're going out tonight. Who's coming? Or like, who's free tonight?
Yeah.
And then someone would be like, oh, I know Josh isn't coming. And it's just like,
yeah.
Like, ouch. And I know they're like my friends and they're joking and all these things, but it was true. Like, they knew, and they also respected my boundary.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. And that took a little bit of time for me to really, like, engrave in myself. And now, I mean, I'm still friends with these people, and they respect my boundaries, and they respect what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And I respect that.
Yeah.
And I think that's a huge part in it as well.
Yeah, dude, that's really good. It's not so much limiting a person as much as limiting the activities. You know what I mean? And so, if you know you're weak in an area or going to struggle if you are in a certain context, it's like, you may need to draw those boundaries and those clear lines, and true friends will understand that, which it's beautiful they did, right? And so I think that's really good. One of the kind of focuses that I want to go in with you a little bit is the concept within friendship of being faithful - loyal. And whenever and the reason why I want to do this with you, and again, just to not puff your ego here, but just being honest, one of the, I think, real strengths of your friendship is you're not two-faced, right? Like, you're a straight shooter. You're not one way to someone's face.
No, if you get me, you get me.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, bro.
And you are an incredible friend in the sense that, like, when you are committed to a friendship, like, you're faithful to it, you're loyal, you're like a ride or die, you're going to be there, highs and lows. And we talk about the idea of, like, being faithful a lot within ministry or within marriage or a relationship. And that's all, like, good and really important, but we don't really talk about it in the terms of friendship. And I think we see it even in the Bible, right? I have it here. Like David, Jonathan, right? Like, there was this faithful loyalty that they had to one another. And so I wonder, can you just speak a little bit to, because that is a strength of yours, the importance of that and how to cultivate that?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that just revolves around, I mean, to me, I'm a person when I like to understand things. I call it sponging. Whenever I just I just soak in all the information. I won't say anything, and I just soak it in, and then I just repulse it.
Yeah. I don't know that repulse is the right word.
It's fine.
Anyway, go on.
But in this scenario, it's like, okay, what is a friend?
Yeah,
and it can be a very loose term, but it's just being committed, it's being friendly, it's being open, it's being honest with each other. I think honesty is a huge thing in friendship, because if I was fake, right? If I was pretending to be a person, you're not friends with me, you're friends with the fake me. And so when I think it comes down to, like, loyalty and friendship, what I really think it means is, or what I take it as, is, am I being a man of my word? Right. If I say, like, yo, you're my boy, like I'm your friend, like, I'm going to be here for you, I'm going to be there for you.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to cut when things get hard, and I'm not going to cut if you start acting up. I'm going to be open and I'm going to be honest. And if there's going to be a time where I have to distance myself, again, that here comes that respectful and healthy boundary. But I'm never going to like leave you. Loyalty to me, what a lot of people think like loyal, be like, oh, they'll never leave, like in a positional thing. Like, yes, I'm loyal to my fiance. I'm loyal to Becca. I love you, Becca.
Yeah.
And that, I think that's a different sphere, because like I'm making a commitment to you. Like, I'm never going to leave you, but I'm also going to do what's best for you. Right. And within a friendship, I'm being loyal. What that really means is I'm going to do everything in my ability to support you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And do what's best for you. In some circumstances, that's me being there for you. That's me being loyal. And that's me being there through the thick and thin, through the hard and through the rough.
Yeah.
And that may look different in different seasons. Like, I'll just use our friendship, for example.
Yeah.
I feel that I've been like, me and you have been loyal friends, even though this past season, we don't hang out as much as we used to.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean we're not loyal. That means that there's some priorities that have shifted around. You got married. I got engaged. We're doing some different things in ministry.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we get on a phone call. We are right where we left off every time.
Yeah.
And so loyalty is, to me, like that. It's being faithful. It's being a man of your word. It's being someone who's always going to be there to support and love.
Yeah.
And I think to the world, support and love looks like sugarcoating things and giving you a hug. Oh, no, you're okay. Everything's okay.
Yeah.
Like, there's a time for comfort, but then there's a time to love.
Yeah.
And I mean like the hard type of love.
Yeah.
Like they say, you bake with blood and you knead in. Like you're cooking with love, but you got to really knead the dough sometimes, right?
Yeah.
And in friendships, I believe like loyalty can be hard sometimes because it's going to be the right thing to do in loving that person. I don't know if like that thing, I just repulsed that. So I don't know if any of that makes sense, but loyalty equals faithfulness, which in terms means you're being a man or a woman. I say man as human.
Yeah.
You're being a person of your word.
Yeah.
Are you being who you say you are? If you're saying you're going to be there for someone, are you going to be there for someone?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And it's not, I actually really love that you went there, because it is not this, you never have hard convos with each other. You sugarcoat things. I actually think that's like a fake friendship, because I
absolutely,
you're not being real with each other. So I think there is something
maybe
to
not
that.
fake, but maybe very shallow. A very shallow
fake.
friendship.
I think it's fake. But like, here's what I think like a loyalty thing too is, and you tell me your thoughts on this. Like, I know that at the end of the day, push comes to shove, you will be honest with me, and you will be, I mean, you have been there through highs and lows in life, and you've, I mean, been there on like the best day, like by my side getting married, right? And I'll be there for you in 4 months. Hey, yo. But crazy. But
I don't know what that
but
was,
also like you've been there for me, like as I'm trying to navigate some things in life and just having conversation and all that. And we've had hard convos and we've had fun convos and we've had everything in between. At the end of the day, I know you're going to be real with me, but I also know because you're going to be real with me, again, there's no, oh, well, what's he saying behind my back? Or is this a different narrative? And I just think in our culture, in our time, in our society, the reason I'm kind of harping on this is because that's not really common. Like, it's a lot more common to allow a gossiping spirit or a backsliding spirit, but real loyalty is Saul coming at David and Jonathan having his back. And I mean, not being afraid, I'm sure, to have conversations about what that looks like or whatever, but like at the end of the day, really being in it with somebody and not just throwing in the towel. And so again, I think you model that well and you live that out well. But we also have the relationship where we'll call things out in each other. And the Bible talks about that too, right? The over that the term that everyone's probably familiar with is the idea like iron sharpening iron, right? Very biblical, very real. But you also see Paul do it with Peter, right? Like that's very real too. Talk a little bit about what that looks like in a relationship and a friendship.
Dude, can I just I want to take a timeout and just like, dude, I love Paul. The more I read about Paul, the more I find out he's just a savage. Like we read like he calls out Peter, but just like picture it like Peter's sitting down and he's like, "Yo, Peter, like what do you think you're doing?" And it's just like so savage. So I love Paul.
Yeah.
But
he basically does a modern day diss track.
Pretty much. Peter. He's like he is the physical representation of like needing with love.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's like, I love you, but this is what you need.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, about being there through like about like not sharpening each other, but
hard
combos.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's what shows if you're really in it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I was only friends with you for the good stuff, I am then just using you.
Yeah.
Like I'm just using you. I'm just using you for a good time. I'm using you to be happy. And then when things get rough, it's like, no, Brandon's having a bad day. Let me call up whoever and see if they're having a good day, and I'll hang out with them.
Yeah.
Although there may be some times it's like if I'm having a bad day, I don't want to talk to anybody, right?
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna flake and I'm not gonna like not be there for you. Or in a sense, if I see you doing something, and again, this comes down to knowing who you are, who you want to be, and that level of like respect within each other that like we have established like in this friendship that I can call stuff out in Brandon and Brandon can call stuff out in me.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to say to Brandon if he's like, yo, Josh, like you shouldn't be doing that. I don't have the right to say, who do you think you are saying that?
Yeah.
One, because I gave him the permission to. And two, why do I think he's so much better than me? And ultimately, I think this is what it comes down to it. Friendships are great. You can have a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun times, a lot of goofing around, at least with me. I'm a goof. But it's really like you're loving that person. And so you need to love that person when they're high and when they're low.
Yeah.
It's like, and if they're in the dirt, if they're in the mud and they're doing some things that they know they shouldn't be doing, it's we're called to love everyone and love the Lord your God with all your heart and love your neighbor. That's what Jesus says. The first, he's like, what are the most important commandment? It starts with love. Everything in this world, we're called to love. We've been made to love.
Yeah.
And with friendships, I think that it looks different for everyone because everyone can receive things different ways and all these things. But you have to be loving towards a friend, and that's what really builds a friendship.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, hey, I see that you're down. It's okay in a sense that you're down it's okay because I'm not going to leave you. Like what you're doing is not okay, but because of what you're doing, I'm not going to leave you.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's love.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm going to help you up and I'm going to pick you up and I'm going to take you where you need to be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's love. That's being loyal. That's sharpening each other.
Yeah.
Like, and that can look different.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important when you talk about like iron sharpens iron, like you can't be dull to sharpen something. You need to be sharp to sharpen something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why, like, if a sharp iron and a dull iron, one sharpens the other one gets a little dull. And so that's why you need to be, like, you can't just be sharpening and sharpening and sharpening. You have to make sure that you are getting sharpened as well. And so that's why friendships are important.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be some times where I'm sharpening you and then sometimes you're sharpening me.
Yeah.
And then some seasons where I'm sharpening you or you're sharpening me all the time. And then you have another friend who's sharpening you.
Yeah.
Like it's not just like one person and one person.
Yeah.
Like you may have like a bestie. That's great. But there should be more than one person in your life, more than one friend in your life who is there to help you when you're down.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah. That's all really, really great. Okay, I have a couple questions for you that I did not plan, but that we're gonna roll with, and if we hate it, we can cut it. But that was Rebecca. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But
love you, babe.
The first one, I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. All right, 30 seconds where you need to tell people, because there might be people listening, right, who are like, I just don't know the first step to going and making a friend. Dumb it down, make it really, really basic, and give a few practical steps. How would you recommend people make a friend at 30 seconds? Go.
Initially, you just have to go up, and it's going to be super awkward, and just go to, hey, my name is this. I don't know who you are. Like, what's your name? Small talk. I hate small talk because it's shallow, but it's what like gets that connection. And then when you see that person next, you really have to be intentional about like, hey, like you have to care a lot.
Yeah.
You have to almost want it more.
Yeah.
And not always want it more, because then it'll be reciprocated.
Yeah.
But you have to go out of your way to make friends sometimes. But what I ultimately think, and this is the only practical I believe, is you just need to be yourself. You just need to be yourself. You don't want to be fake. You want to be who you are, because then at the end of the day, when people are friends with you and when they love you for the person that you really are, that's not saying go around and do whatever you think. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But like, don't hide things. Like, if you're a super funny guy and you're out in public and you're shy, like let loose a little bit, right? There's always going to be things you learn and you make, maybe I should have said that. Like, I've always been the person where like, should not have said that thing. Should not have said that thing. But then you learn, right? But people then know that like, that's who I am. Like I say things that are funny, and sometimes I say things that are not that funny and they're hurtful, but like people know that and they know my intentions are pure. And when people love you for the person that you really are, that's when you really feel the friendship a lot more. Because they appreciate you and they love you. They know that like, they know actually who you are, that you make mistakes, that you're not perfect. And even through that, they still want to be friends with you. They still want to love you. So my practical would be that.
Dude, that was great. I think I said 90 seconds, right?
I thought it was 30.
No, that's.
Dude, I've learned. There's been so many things I've picked up from you over the years. The one is being a bad texter. I've learned that. I think I have 50. I think I really do have like 50 unread texts.
Those are rookie numbers. I'm kidding.
The second is go whenever I have to preach, going over the amount of time I've been given. It always goes in the negative. I'm always in negative. The last time I preached, I was negative 15.
Oh my gosh. It is a struggle. It's
a struggle.
And you will live with that struggle for the rest of your life.
That's true. Also, another practical, real quick, I should have said this because it's actual practical. Find a hobby. Find something you can go do with a friend. Walks, working out, sports,
Bible study.
If you like craft, Bible study is a great way to make friends. It's like you see someone at church, you talk to them for a couple weeks and you're like, hey, do you want to like go grab lunch and like talk about this? Or like just go grab food, or do you want to go to the park and like walk around and like throw football or like have a little picnic or whatever it may be. Like just spending time with people consistently will then grow your friendship.
Picnic vibes go crazy. That's wild. I want to go for a picnic now.
They go. Say it with me now. Banana bonkers.
You're wild. Okay, the last thing that I really want to hit on, that just came to me while you were talking, is this idea too, that the relationships in our lives serve different purposes in different seasons. And that is true for friendships as well. And I'm saying this, I don't even think I've told you, maybe I have told you this, but a few months ago, I was just struggling with, I like have lots of friends, I feel like, but I'm not good at friendship. And I was talking to a friend of mine, like an actual like real one, not like not just like, oh, hey friend, like
not just like a person but like an actual like, hey, like we need to a person, a sharpener. And this is an example. And he said, because I was just like fed up with everything, and I was like, I don't think I like anybody, and I just think I'm just over. And we all have those days.
And he was like, here's the problem, Brandon. He said, and I've observed this. He said, you are really, really, really great as a mentor, and you are not good as a friend. And I thought that is true. That is true of me. I get bored so often in the friendship if I don't feel like there is a purpose to it. I like to come along and I like to see the potential in somebody, have a relationship that allows that to become realized and kind of move on. And that's not healthy and not good, because you need the lasting relationships that are more than that and deeper than that.
Yeah.
And so I've been on this path of take our friendship, for example, if we can, and be real. And again, we can cut this if we need to, but I want to share your journal that you sent me the other day.
Dude, no, I was literally just thinking about that.
Because here's the reality. Like, our dynamic started with exactly what I just said. I saw something in you. I saw potential. I wanted to pull that out, have that be realized. And I thrived in that season of our friendship, right? Now we're in a different season, right? We're not in the same ministry context. We're not we don't have the same dynamics per se. We definitely sharpen each other more mutually now than before. It was more one-sided.
Yeah, I'd say before it was like I'm down here and you're up here, not in like you're better, but it was just like I'm growing, you've grown, and now it's like
we're growing together on the.
We're growing together.
And I traditionally have got kind of bored in that phase, and I am like, whatever. But I'm trying to learn the beauty of friendship in all seasons and the evolution almost of relational dynamics along the way. And so I just think it's really funny. Do you want to share what you sent me the other day? And I hope this encourages somebody.
Yeah, let me pull up the actual picture because I want to get the date right, because this is actually crazy. So
can I give a little bit of context here?
Yeah.
Okay. For those who may not know, like, you and I did ministry really closely for a long time.
I was your right-hand man.
Yeah.
Or left.
Yeah.
Luke was your right.
Either way, you were a hand. And and now we're in a season, because of various circumstances, largely outside of our control, where we're not in ministry side by side anymore, but we're both in ministry, right? And so I just think that's important context. So go on.
Yeah. Okay. So flashback to last year.
Yeah.
This was probably peak our friendship.
Yeah.
Like, so like still such a good friendship, but like peak, like hanging out and just like literally doing all of life together.
The stocks have dropped, like, friends. I'm kidding.
Yeah, the stock drop. That was, you should have sold then. You should have sold this time last year. But I wrote in my journal, and I was just trying to just like talk about some things. And then, and I had this revelation about Jesus had to leave his disciples in order for them to grow and to become the men that they were designed to be. And although Jesus left and the Holy Spirit came and it was something better for him, the person that they spent so much time with and that they never wanted this person to go, he had to go. Right. And I'm not calling Brandon Jesus. Disclaimer. Brandon is not Jesus. Sorry, bro. Although Jesus is with you, you are not him. I wrote this, and referring to that, I said that just like Jesus had to go leave his disciples for them to grow, this is going to happen with me and B ... So I'm cherishing every moment /time we do a study, a podcast, or hang out, because at this time, like, I really grew a lot.
Yeah.
And it was almost like, okay, I needed to like do stuff on my own. And I just like felt that. And this was in June of last year.
Yeah.
And I did not feel the urge to step away. Neither did you.
Yeah.
But I just felt like, in a sense, like there was going to be a time where like I see this all over Instagram sometimes, and it revolves around the idea of knowing like that last good time when it is that last good time. It's like, wow, remember that time? Like we did that. And that was like this, like the last big time we had together. And it's like, we haven't hung out in so long. Yeah. Like the last time.
Yeah.
Like I like realized it. Like I was just very grateful, and God just gave me this, like, I don't want to say vision, but this perspective of like, realizing what I have, and I'm like, this is amazing and I love it.
Yeah.
But there's going to come a day where like it's not going to be like this.
Yeah.
And that's just being practical and being honest. Like, you were getting married. I was not in a relationship then, which is wild.
Yeah.
And yeah, and then I go on to talk about some other things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you got married and some things happened, and I stepped into a certain part of ministry with a church. You went and stepped in part of a ministry with a different church.
Yeah.
And we just began to do our own things. And then I read this back the other day and I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, that happened.
Yeah. And here's the reality, right? Like, it could have been easy to have been like, okay, great. It was a great friendship, a great run. Fantastic. Grateful for you, Josh. See ya. Right? Like,
yeah,
that could have been a reality. Or you can say, no. That season was so beautiful. That friendship so valuable. And let's bring that into a new paradigm and a new season.
Yeah.
And watch as the friendship brings unique gifts and unique strengths in this season as well.
Yeah.
And we've seen that now, right? Like,
dude, the one time I saw that and it was so cool, we were talking about the message you were preaching on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, it's been a cool new season because you're preaching almost regularly on a like every other week or whatever, right? And I'm preaching regularly on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
And so you were talking to me about like your ideas and how things sounded and like, is this a good analogy or is this a good point?
Yeah.
And I thought like, wow, a year ago we would not be having this conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But
we would not be having this conversation.
And had we not continued the friendship, because the season was changing. And I'm not saying that friendships never end, right? Like, there are people who are in your life for a time in a season, but I think sometimes we throw in that towel too fast, right? And so my point is like, now we get to see that, because even though we're in a new season, there's new strengths that come with that and new gifts that come with that. And so I'm really grateful for that. And that's what God's been showing me and teaching me through this. So, yeah.
That's awesome, dude. I think it's also really important. Sorry if you're going to end.
No,
because I'm not done.
Yeah.
I think it's really important not to burn any bridges.
Yeah. 100%.
Even with like friends, there's some friends that I really had to take a step back from.
Yeah.
But now I see them and I talk to them. I'm friendly with them and I love on them and we have a conversation and it's great. But I'm never like, you're out of my life. See ya, buddy.
Yeah.
And to me, I don't see the point in that.
Yeah.
And when both people understand, I think this is where kind of a balance comes in. You understand that things are going to change. Things aren't always going to be the way that like relationships are going to change.
Yeah.
Like between me and you, our dynamic changed.
Yeah.
Not the level of our friendship, but the dynamic of it.
I'd say the level did change and that it's got deeper.
Yes, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, it got deeper, but I don't think like the change lowered it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there could be a lot of times where people are like, the change will just like, oh, I moved away and I'm like not with this person anymore. I like don't even know them.
Yeah.
And I think that takes effort into talking to them and going out of your way to just communicate and do some things with them.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should ever be like, oh, yep, I haven't seen this person in 5 years. Like, we're no longer friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just like, no, that's my friend. I haven't seen him in 5 years.
Yeah.
And I think it comes to the point, and not all people are like this, because some people hate people. Yeah. Which is like, why waste your time hating somebody?
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah. I need to learn that one.
Yeah.
I just roasted myself, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think like there's seasons in friendships.
Yeah. 100.
And sometimes things are going to look a little dull. Things might get a little, what's the word for like inactive?
Stagnant.
That's like a cooler stagnant maybe. Or like when the winter comes and like seeds are still underneath the ground and there's plants still there, not everything dies.
Yeah.
But it's just like underneath some snow and you can't see some things for a while and things change. But then the season comes and things blossom again. Yeah. And things are good. Yeah. And it may be some new things and maybe some of the old things that come up too that were good in the past, right? I think you just have to be open, and this is what it comes back to: being open, being honest, and being yourself with that person.
Yeah.
Even if that's like me coming up to Brandon being like, hey, bro, I really miss what we have, and I would be lying if I said I wasn't upset about our relationship now. It's not a problem. I'm just expressing to him like, hey, like this is how I'm feeling.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe we talk it out and we decide we can hang out every so often, and that's great. And maybe we talk it out and he knocks some sense into me and we're fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it's about being open. It's about being honest, and it's about not like leaving, being loyal.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew. Dude, that was good.
Dude, my communication skills have really improved lately. I'm not gonna lie.
Not to flex, not to brag.
Dude, and this is not to brag. This is to show like I was a terrible communicator. I sucked. I did. Can I say that on here?
You can say that. Yeah. I was gonna say
the truth. I'm gonna speak the truth.
The first, think about how amazing, everybody listening, think of how amazing that was. Everything Josh just said. Now I want to rewind back to a year and a half ago, the first time I ever put Josh on a platform and gave him a microphone in front of people. And Josh gets up there, and can I just be honest for a second? It was clunky. It was a bit of a struggle. And I'm like, okay, it's whatever, it's fine. We're gonna work with this. And go ahead.
So it was a 5 for 5, like I stated earlier. Yeah. And I was like standing,
meaning the 5 backstage. People preach for 5 minutes in a church. Go on.
Yes, about Jesus. And so I had the mic, and like Brandon said, I was like standing like this. I was making more eye contact with my computer than the people. The computer and the floor were my 2 audience members. And I just wasn't talking. I like lots of likes and ums, which I'm working on, which hint, just slow down, fixes everything. Just slow down. Yeah. And I get to a part. I'm talking about, I always get their names mixed
Shadrach,
up.
Meshach, Abednego.
Meshach and Abednego, the 3 Hebrew boys. Yeah. And I was talking about how they stood their ground and they weren't going to worship another idol. And I was talking about how that's the faith we need to have. And I read the verse and I said, the ball's on these guys.
And everyone was just like, oh my gosh, like, this guy.
I think that's what the room needed. It broke that like awkwardness.
Maybe
that's kind of my strategy now.
You should drop your own.
But I don't do it as like vulgar. Yeah, I do it in different ways.
Maybe you drop your own translation of the Bible. How about that?
Dude, anytime I paraphrase the Bible, I call it the JSB translation.
It works.
Doesn't that sound sick?
It works. Joshua Stephen Balogh, Social Security number 791.
What we're trying to say is that after practice and after repetition and after learning, like I used to watch, I still do sometimes, watch back my messages to see how I talk, how I communicate. Yeah. When you learn those things, you'll just generally become a better communicator, and you just have to be confident in what you're saying.
Yeah, 100%.
That's it.
Dude, that's good. Thank you so much for hanging. And is there any parting advice you want to leave with everybody listening?
Parting advice. I would say, because we were talking about friendship, I would say that if you really need some friends in your life, ask God, figure out what that root kind of is, but then ask for him to put people in your life to surround you.
Yeah.
And when you are seeking him, he'll put people in your life. It might not be immediately, it might be immediately, but he'll do that for you.
Yeah.
And in that it'll be so fruitful. Not saying that friendships outside of church are bad or not fruitful, but when God gives you friends, those are going to be good friends.
Yeah. It's good.
It may be outside of church, it may be inside of church, but when God gives you friends, they're going to be good friends. Yeah. So I'd say seek God. I mean, in everything, seek first the kingdom and all should be granted, right? Yeah. So ask God first and seek him, and he'll give you everything you need. Yeah. And then just be confident in who you are. Yeah. That was one thing I really had to learn. Before I even came to the church, I was a very shy individual. Yeah. I was a very shy individual. And Jesus and in reading God's word, I understood who I was, and I was confident in who I was because God said who I was. Yeah. And when you have that revelation of God says I know who I am because I am who God says I am.
Yeah.
I'm a child of God. I find my identity is found in Him, not what people say about me. Then I don't want to say unapologetically yourself, because sometimes you may say some things that you need to apologize for, but you are no longer afraid to be the person God made you to be.
Yeah.
So I'd say walk in that and be confident in who God made you to be.
Come on, man. Yeah. Dude, thank you so much for your time. Everybody, we're so grateful for Josh. I love you, man. Dude, thankful for our friendship and really excited for this guy to get married. Maybe
one could say a broship.
A broship. maybe we'll have you back on after your wedding. Whoa. And we can talk all things marriage.
During the wedding.
We'll do an episode live during Josh's wedding in December.
Live during the ceremony.
That's wild. I love it.
But yeah, thank you for having me on, dude. You're doing some amazing stuff here, and you really are making an impact. So keep doing it. Guys, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for all your support to Brandon. He's an awesome guy.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate you. Love y'all. We'll see you next week. Later.